The Aurora Express glided through the snow-covered peaks of the Alps, its golden glow a stark contrast to the icy wilderness outside. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with luxury and indulgence. Crystal chandeliers swayed gently with the rhythm of the train, while passengers clinked glasses, exchanging laughter and stories. But in the corner of the dining car, Clara moved silently, unnoticed, a waitress blending into the opulent background. To most, she was just another face, a server with a quiet demeanor. But Clara carried a secret, a voice so powerful it could silence a room and move hearts. Once, she dreamed of standing on grand stages, but years of rejection and ridicule had dimmed her spark. Now she sang only to herself, humming melodies as she cleared plates and refilled glasses. Tonight, though, was no ordinary night. As the snowstorm outside raged, the storm brewing within the train was about to erupt. Ethan Blackwood, a famed music producer known for his arrogance and hunger for dominance, had boarded the Aurora Express. His sharp eyes scanned the dining car, and when he heard Clara's faint humming, he stopped. A smirk crept onto his face. To him, she wasn't just a waitress. She was the perfect pawn for his next game. What followed would be a night of humiliation, defiance, and triumph that no one aboard the Aurora Express would ever forget. Before we dive deeper into Clara's story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales of resilience and courage. Your support means the world to us. Clara shuffled through the narrow aisles of the Aurora Express, balancing a tray of steaming coffees as the train swayed gently along the snowy tracks. Her uniform, though tidy, was plain, blending seamlessly into the elegant yet impersonal ambiance of the train's luxurious dining car. It was fitting. Clara had spent her whole life blending in, moving silently through spaces, avoiding unnecessary attention. At 27, Clara had already lived several lifetimes' worth of heartbreak and resilience. Born in a small town in Kansas, she was raised by her grandmother after her parents died in a car accident when she was just 6. Music had been their legacy. Her mother, a singer in a small-town band, and her father, a passionate pianist, had filled their home with melodies and laughter. After their passing, Clara clung to those memories, teaching herself to sing in the quiet hours when the weight of loss felt unbearable. Her grandmother's upright piano became her sanctuary. Though the keys were chipped and the sound uneven, it was enough for Clara to lose herself in music. By the time she was 16, her voice had blossomed into something extraordinary. Teachers and neighbors encouraged her to pursue her talent, and Clara believed, briefly, that music could take her far beyond the confines of her small town. But life had other plans. When she turned 18, Clara auditioned for a renowned national singing competition. It was her first real shot at making it big. Her performance was heartfelt, raw, and captivating. But the judges, particularly one infamous for his brutal critiques, didn't see it that way. "Your voice is good," he said, his words cutting like shards of ice. "But good isn't enough. You're ordinary, forgettable. The industry doesn't need another Clara." The audience laughed nervously, and Clara, cheeks flushed with shame, left the stage in tears. That moment stayed with her, replaying in her mind whenever she thought about singing in public. Every time she opened her mouth, the memory of those jeering faces choked her. From then on, music became a private affair. Clara worked odd jobs to support herself and her grandmother, who had grown frail. After her passing, Clara moved to the city, searching for stability and an escape from her past. The Aurora Express job came by chance, a recommendation from a friend who admired Clara's work ethic. The train's luxury seemed like a distant world to her. The chandeliers, the polished silverware, and the well-dressed passengers were all part of a life Clara had only glimpsed on magazine covers. But amidst the glitz, there was one thing that drew her in: the grand piano stationed in the train's observation lounge. It was a beauty, glossy and perfect, its presence a stark reminder of the life Clara had left behind. During her breaks, when no one was around, she'd sneak into the lounge and run her fingers across the keys. At first, it was just scales, small, unnoticeable melodies, but over time, Her confidence grew, and she began to hum quietly as her hands danced over the piano. Her co-workers occasionally heard her singing in the back kitchen or humming while setting tables. "You've got a real gift, Clara," one of them had said, but she'd brushed it off with a polite smile. It wasn't a gift, she thought. It was a burden, one that had brought her more pain than joy. Yet, no matter how hard she tried to suppress it, music was part of her. It flowed through her veins, resurfacing in quiet moments when she thought no one was watching. Like a flame struggling against the wind, it refused to be extinguished completely. The passengers, meanwhile, never noticed Clara beyond her role as a server. To them, she was a faceless figure delivering drinks and clearing plates, someone who faded into the background. Clara didn't mind. Being invisible was safer, easier, but even the most hidden sparks can catch fire when the wind changes. That night, as Clara worked her shift, she caught snippets of conversations from the passengers. They were wealthy, powerful, and self-assured, discussing deals, scandals, and vacations as if the world revolved around them. Clara tuned it out, focusing instead on the rhythmic clatter of cups and the steady hum of the train. In the far corner of the dining car, the door swung open, and a new passenger stepped in. Ethan Blackwood. The name alone sent a ripple of whispers through the room. Clara didn't know much about him. She wasn't one for celebrity gossip, but even she had heard of Ethan. He was a legendary music producer, the kind who turned nobodies into global sensations. Ethan carried himself with an air of casual dominance. Dressed in a tailored black coat and holding a glass of whiskey, he scanned the room like a hawk surveying its prey. When his sharp eyes landed on Clara, something in his gaze lingered a moment too long. Clara felt a chill crawl down her spine but quickly looked away. Focusing on pouring wine for the table in front of her, Ethan smirked. To him, she was just another waitress, another insignificant part of the scenery. But something about her intrigued him. Perhaps it was the way she moved, graceful yet unassuming, or the quiet strength in her eyes. Whatever it was, he decided then and there that she would be his entertainment for the evening. Clara, unaware of Ethan's intentions, continued her work. She didn't know that tonight would be the night her carefully built walls would come crashing down, or that her life was about to change forever. Little did she realize, the stage she had avoided for so long was about to be thrust upon her, and this time, the audience wasn't going to laugh. The clinking of glasses and the hum of idle chatter filled the dining car as Ethan Blackwood settled into his seat at a corner table. His presence, like an uninvited storm, drew attention almost immediately. Passengers whispered his name, their excitement barely contained as they speculated about why the famous producer was aboard the Aurora Express. Ethan basked in their curiosity, exuding the confidence of a man accustomed to being the center of attention. His tailored black coat was draped casually over the chair beside him, and his whiskey glass caught the dim light of the chandeliers. He didn't need to speak loudly or make any grand gestures. His reputation did the work for him. Clara, however, wasn't impressed. She recognized Ethan. Of course. His face was plastered on every entertainment magazine cover, often alongside headlines about chart-topping hits or controversial comments. But to her, he was just another high-profile passenger who would demand extra attention. She adjusted her apron and approached his table, tray in hand, her expression calm and professional. "Good evening, sir," Clara said, placing a glass of water before him. "May I take your order?" Ethan glanced up at her, his sharp blue eyes scanning her face as if he were assessing a new project. There was a pause, just long enough to make Clara uncomfortable before he spoke. "Whiskey." "Neat," he said, his voice smooth but commanding. Clara nodded, scribbling on her notepad. She turned to leave, but Ethan wasn't done. "What's your name?" he asked, his tone casual but laced with curiosity. She hesitated for a moment. "Clara," she replied, keeping her voice neutral. Ethan smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Clara," he repeated, testing the sound of it. "You seem different." Clara didn't respond, instead choosing to walk briskly back to the bar to fetch his drink. She didn't need or want his attention, but the way his eyes lingered on her made her uneasy. As the evening progressed, Ethan observed her closely, his interest growing with every passing moment. Clara's movements were graceful, her demeanor poised yet distant. But what intrigued him most was the faint humming he caught as she passed by his table. A melody so soft and fleeting that he almost thought he'd imagined it. By the time dessert was served, Ethan had made up his mind. He wasn't just going to enjoy the luxury of the Aurora Express tonight, he was going to create a moment. "Excuse me," Ethan called out, his voice carrying easily over the low murmur of the dining car. All eyes turned to him, including Clara's. "Yes, sir?" Clara asked, her tray balanced carefully in her hands. Ethan gestured to the small grand piano in the corner of the room, its polished surface gleaming under the warm light. "Tell me, Clara, do you play?" The question caught her off guard. Her cheeks flushed as she stammered. I don't know what you mean." "Oh, come now," Ethan said, his smirk widening. "Don't be modest. I heard you humming earlier. That wasn't the hum of someone tone-deaf. You've got music in you, haven't you?" The dining car fell silent, the weight of Ethan's words hanging in the air. Passengers turned in their seats. Their curiosity piqued. Clara felt the heat of their gazes, her palms growing clammy as she struggled to find a response. She began, but Ethan cut her off. "Don't deny it," he said, his tone teasing yet insistent. "A talent like that shouldn't be hidden. Why don't you give us a little performance? There's a piano right there." Clara froze. Her heart raced as memories of her failed audition flooded back. She could almost hear the cruel laughter, the sharp critiques, the sting of rejection. Her voice wavered as she replied, "I'm just here to work. Mr. Blackwood, I'm not a performer." Ethan leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. His smirk turned into a challenge. "That's a shame," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I thought you had something special. But if you're too afraid..." His words trailed off, but the implication was clear. Murmurs spread through the room as passengers exchanged glances, their interest now fully focused on Clara. Clara's chest tightened. She wanted to walk away, to disappear, but Ethan's challenge felt like a noose tightening around her. If she refused, it would only cement his perception of her as someone ordinary, forgettable. One of the passengers, a woman dressed in pearls and silk, spoke up. "Oh, let her sing," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "It's not every day we get to be entertained by someone so unpolished." The laughter that followed was soft but cutting, each chuckle slicing through Clara's resolve. She clenched her fists at her sides, willing herself to stay composed. Ethan leaned back in his chair, swirling his whiskey as he watched her. "What's it going to be? Clara?" he asked, his voice smooth but taunting. "Are you going to show us what you've got? Or are you going to let fear hold you back?" Clara's gaze darted to the piano, then back to Ethan. Her mind raced with conflicting emotions, fear, anger, shame. But beneath it all, there was a flicker of defiance, a small voice whispering that she couldn't let him win. Slowly, she set her tray down on a nearby table. The room fell silent as she stepped toward the piano, each step heavy with the weight of expectation. Ethan's smirk widened, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. As Clara reached the piano, she paused, her trembling hands hovering over the keys. She could feel every eye in the room on her, waiting for her to fail, to crumble. But something shifted within her. She remembered her grandmother's voice, soft and steady. "Never let anyone tell you who you are. You define yourself." Clara drew a deep breath, her shoulders straightening. She turned to face the room, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "All right. Mr. Blackwood," she said, meeting Ethan's gaze with newfound determination. "You want a performance? I'll give you one." The tension in the room crackled like electricity as Clara turned back to the piano, her fingers hovering over the keys. And as she began to play, the first notes reverberating through the dining car, the room held its breath. No one, not even Ethan, was prepared for what would happen next. The dining car was deathly silent, every pair of eyes fixed on Clara as she stood by the gleaming grand piano. The soft hum of the train rolling along the tracks seemed almost distant now, drowned out by the pounding of her heartbeat in her ears. Ethan Blackwood leaned back in his chair, swirling the whiskey in his glass with a self-satisfied smirk. He thought he'd won, that Clara was cornered, that she'd crumble under the weight of his challenge. But what he didn't realize was that, in this moment, Clara wasn't just fighting him. She was fighting her own demons. Her hands trembled slightly as they hovered over the piano keys. The memories of her past clawed at her, threatening to pull her back into the abyss of self-doubt. The jeering faces of the judges from her failed audition flashed before her eyes. Their voices mocking her, ordinary, forgettable. But then, amidst the chaos of her thoughts, a voice broke through, a voice she hadn't heard in years. "Don't let them make you small, Clara," her grandmother used to say. "You're bigger than their words." Clara closed her eyes, grounding herself. The tension in the room was palpable, and she could feel the judgment radiating from the passengers. But she also felt something else, a flicker of defiance, a spark that had lain dormant for far too long. Her fingers pressed down on the keys, the first notes hesitantly spilling into the air. The melody was soft at first, almost fragile, like a bird testing its wings after years in a cage. A few passengers shifted in their seats. Their curiosity piqued, but not yet fully engaged. Ethan raised an eyebrow, his smirk unwavering. "Is that all?" he muttered under his breath, loud enough for his table to hear. But Clara didn't stop. She continued, her confidence growing with each note. The song, an old ballad she used to sing with her mother, began to build. Her voice, at first a mere whisper, broke through like sunlight piercing a stormy sky. The passengers froze. Conversations halted, forks and glasses forgotten. Clara's voice carried through the dining car, rich and resonant, weaving a tapestry of raw emotion. It wasn't just music, it was a story of pain, loss, resilience, and hope. Ethan's smirk began to falter. This wasn't what he had expected. He had assumed Clara's performance would be mediocre at best, something he could easily dismiss with a cutting remark. But this was something else entirely. Clara sang as if her soul were pouring out through the notes, as if she were reclaiming every part of herself she'd buried over the years. The passengers, initially drawn in by curiosity, now sat in stunned silence, their eyes glistening with unshed tears. The lyrics painted vivid images of a young girl chasing dreams that always seemed just out of reach, of sacrifices made and love lost, of finding strength in the face of overwhelming odds. Clara wasn't just singing a song. She was bearing her soul, and the room felt it. Ethan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He hated losing control. And right now, Clara had seized the moment in a way he hadn't anticipated. The power dynamic had shifted, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt small. As Clara reached the crescendo, her voice soared, filling every corner of the car with a force that was both powerful and intimate. Some passengers wiped their eyes discreetly, while others sat motionless, utterly captivated. Even the staff, who had paused their work to listen, looked at Clara with newfound admiration. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it was over. Clara's voice faded into the soft resonance of the final piano chord, hanging in the air like a whisper of something sacred. For a moment, there was nothing, no applause, no movement, no sound at all. Clara remained seated at the piano, her hands resting on the keys, her chest rising and falling as she caught her breath. She didn't dare look at the crowd. She wasn't sure she could face whatever reaction awaited her. Then, like a dam breaking, the room erupted into applause. It started with a single clap, hesitant but genuine, and quickly grew into a thunderous ovation. Passengers stood from their seats, their cheers echoing through the car. Some whistled, others clapped until their hands stung. Clara blinked, her eyes darting across the room in disbelief. They weren't laughing. They weren't mocking. They were celebrating her. Ethan's smirk was gone, replaced by an expression Clara couldn't quite decipher. He looked almost humbled. No, that wasn't right. There was something darker in his eyes, resentment, perhaps. But Clara didn't care. For the first time in years, she felt free. As the applause finally began to die down, a woman approached the piano, her elegant gown shimmering in the low light. She was in her late 50s, with silver-streaked hair and a presence that commanded respect. Clara recognized her instantly, Sophia Moretti, a legendary opera singer who had retired years ago, but remained an influential figure in the music world. That, Sophia said, her voice warm and sincere, was extraordinary. Clara's breath hitched. Thank you, she managed, her voice trembling. Sophia placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. You have a gift, my dear. Don't let anyone make you doubt it. Her gaze flicked briefly to Ethan, who was now nursing his whiskey in silence. The moment felt surreal. Clara wanted to pinch herself, to make sure this wasn't some elaborate dream. But the warmth of Sophia's hand, the applause still ringing in her ears, the pride swelling in her chest, all of it was real. As Sophia returned to her seat, Clara stood, her legs shaky but her resolve stronger than ever. She turned to face the room, offering a small, grateful bow. The passengers applauded once more, their cheers a symphony of validation and admiration. Ethan remained seated, his expression unreadable. For the first time in his life, he didn't have a witty remark or cutting comment. He simply watched as Clara walked back to the staff area, her head held high and her shoulders back. What had started as a cruel game had turned into something far greater. Clara hadn't just risen to Ethan's challenge. She had owned it, transforming it into a moment of triumph. And deep down, Ethan knew he had underestimated her. The dining car buzzed with restless energy as Clara sat at the piano, her hands trembling above the pristine ivory keys, the weight of 100 eyes pressed down on her like a physical force. Ethan Blackwood leaned back in his chair, a smug grin tugging at his lips as if he had already won. His challenge wasn't just about exposing Clara's vulnerabilities. It was about asserting his dominance, reminding everyone in the room who controlled the narrative. Clara inhaled deeply, her mind racing. The last time she'd performed for an audience, it had ended in humiliation. She'd vowed never to put herself in that position again. Yet here she was, thrust into the spotlight against her will, every instinct screaming at her to walk away. But as she sat there, her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. You're bigger than their judgment. Sing for yourself, not for them. Clara's fingers pressed down, and the first tentative notes floated into the air. The melody was soft, almost hesitant, like a whisper testing its strength against the noise of the world. At first, the crowd seemed unimpressed. Some exchanged skeptical glances. Others shifted in their seats. Ethan chuckled under his breath, his confidence unshaken. But then Clara began to sing. Her voice started as a fragile thread, weaving its way through the room. Each note carried the weight of her story, years of loss, rejection, and resilience. The melody was a slow crescendo, building with each verse, and her voice transformed from a hesitant murmur into a powerful, soaring declaration. The room stilled. Conversations died. Glasses were set down. Even the clinking of the train on the tracks seemed to fade away, as if the world itself had paused to listen. Clara wasn't just singing. She was telling a story. The lyrics spoke of chasing dreams through storms, of holding on to hope even when the world seemed intent on tearing it away. Her voice climbed higher, bolder, each note striking with the force of a hammer against stone. Ethan's grin faltered. He straightened in his chair, his whiskey forgotten as he stared at Clara with a mix of disbelief and awe. This wasn't the timid waitress he'd expected to crumble under pressure. This was an artist, raw, unapologetic, and magnetic. By the time Clara reached the chorus, the atmosphere in the dining car had transformed. Tears shimmered in the eyes of some passengers. Others leaned forward, completely captivated. A man at the back of the room whispered to his companion, "I haven't heard anything like this in years." Clara's fingers danced across the keys, her voice a perfect harmony with the piano's rich tones. She closed her eyes, pouring every ounce of her being into the performance. She wasn't thinking about Ethan, or the judgmental stares, or even the crowd's reaction. For the first time in years, she was singing purely for herself, for the girl who had once dreamed of stages far grander than this. The final note lingered in the air, hanging like a fragile thread of light before fading into silence. Clara sat frozen, her hands still resting on the keys, her chest rising and falling with the effort of the performance. She dared not look at the audience, unsure if she could handle their response. And then the applause began. It started as a single clap, hesitant but sincere, before erupting into a thunderous ovation. Passengers rose to their feet, their cheers and whistles filling the car with a deafening roar. Clara blinked, stunned by the overwhelming reaction. She turned to face the crowd. Her cheeks flushed, her eyes wide with disbelief. A woman in a sparkling gown wiped tears from her eyes. "That was incredible," she murmured, her voice breaking. Several passengers approached Clara, offering words of praise and encouragement. One man, a prominent music critic, declared, "You have a gift that the world needs to hear." Ethan, however, remained seated, his expression unreadable. The self-assured smirk he had worn all evening was gone, replaced by something Clara couldn't quite place. Was it regret? Humility? As the crowd began to settle, Sophia Moretti, the retired opera legend, stood and made her way to Clara. Her presence commanded respect, and the room hushed as she approached. "You have a rare talent," Sophia said, her voice warm and genuine. "That was not just a performance, it was an experience. Don't ever let anyone make you doubt your worth again." Clara felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. Sophia smiled gently and turned to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've witnessed something extraordinary tonight. Let us not take it for granted." The passengers erupted into applause once more, their enthusiasm unrelenting. Clara bowed slightly, her heart swelling with a mixture of pride and disbelief. Ethan finally rose from his seat, his movements slow and deliberate. The room fell silent, waiting for his reaction. He approached Clara, his hands tucked into his pockets, his expression guarded. "Well," he said, his voice measured. "I didn't see that coming." Clara met his gaze, her chin held high. She wasn't afraid of him anymore. "Maybe you should stop underestimating people," she replied, her tone calm but firm. Ethan chuckled, though it lacked his usual bravado. "Touché?" he said, nodding slightly. "You've got talent, real talent. But talent is only part of the equation in this business. The rest is integrity," Clara interrupted. Ethan blinked, caught off guard. "Yes," he admitted reluctantly. "Integrity." The passengers began to disperse, returning to their meals and conversations, though the energy in the room remained electric. Clara turned back to the piano, running her fingers over the keys one last time before stepping away. As she walked toward the staff area, her co-workers greeted her with smiles and quiet nods of approval. One whispered, "You were amazing. Clara, I've never seen anything like it." Clara smiled, her heart lighter than it had been in years. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen, not as a waitress or a failure, but as an artist. Behind her, Ethan returned to his table, his mind racing. This wasn't how the evening was supposed to go. Clara had not only risen to his challenge, she had turned it into a victory he hadn't anticipated. And somewhere deep down, Ethan knew he'd just witnessed something extraordinary. The dining car's energy lingered like static in the air, even as the applause finally began to fade. Clara had returned to her duties, though she moved with a newfound confidence. Every glance from a passenger now carried admiration instead of indifference. For the first time, Clara felt seen not as a waitress, but as an artist. Ethan, however, sat stiffly at his table, his whiskey untouched. His entourage murmured quietly around him, stealing glances in his direction. He had always thrived on control, orchestrating situations to his liking, but tonight had gone off script. Clara's performance had not only stolen the spotlight, but it also exposed something Ethan wasn't prepared to face: vulnerability. As the dining car settled into a quieter rhythm, a new voice broke through the air, a voice from the past Ethan had worked tirelessly to bury. Well, Ethan Blackwood," said a man standing near the piano, his voice laced with a mixture of amusement and accusation. Heads turned toward the speaker, a tall, older gentleman with a neatly trimmed beard and a confident presence. His tailored suit spoke of sophistication, but his piercing eyes carried an edge. Clara paused mid-step, curious but wary. Ethan's jaw tightened, his smirk returning as a thin mask. "Liam Dresden," he said coolly. "I didn't realize you were aboard." "Oh, I'm full of surprises," Liam replied, stepping closer. "Just like you, it seems." The tension in the room thickened. Clara exchanged glances with a nearby coworker, sensing that something significant was about to unfold. Liam turned to the room, addressing the gathered passengers like an orator commanding a crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe many of you know Ethan here as the brilliant producer behind some of the biggest hits of the last decade, a man with an impeccable ear for talent. Some passengers nodded in agreement, while others watched with guarded interest, sensing the undertone in Liam's words. But, Liam continued, his voice sharpening, what many of you might not know is that Ethan's talent isn't the only thing responsible for his success. Sometimes, it's his ability to borrow brilliance from others. The room fell silent, the implication hanging heavy in the air. Ethan leaned back in his chair, feigning indifference. I have no idea what you're talking about, he said with a dismissive chuckle. Oh, don't play coy, Liam shot back, his eyes narrowing. Do you remember a little song called Beneath the Stars? It was the breakthrough hit that put you on the map. Clara's ears perked up at the mention of the song. She had heard it before, a hauntingly beautiful ballad that had once dominated the charts. What about it? Ethan said, his tone colder now. Liam stepped closer, his voice rising just enough for the entire car to hear. What about the fact that you didn't write it? That it wasn't your melody, your lyrics, or your arrangement? What about the fact that it belonged to someone else, a young, unknown artist who trusted you to help them, only for you to steal it and claim it as your own? A collective gasp rippled through the room. Passengers exchanged shocked glances, their admiration for Ethan beginning to crack. That's ridiculous, Ethan snapped, his facade slipping for the first time. You have no proof, Liam smiled, a predator sensing victory. Oh, I have proof. The original demo, recorded in that artist's own voice, still exists. And I happen to know the artist. You see, Ethan, your past has a way of catching up to you. Clara felt her pulse quicken. This wasn't just about Ethan's integrity. It was about the kind of person who could undermine and manipulate others for his own gain. She clenched her fists at her sides, the memory of her own rejection resurfacing. The passengers began murmuring louder now, their once reverent gazes toward Ethan replaced by suspicion. Ethan's entourage shrank back in their seats, distancing themselves from the growing scandal. Liam turned toward Clara, his expression softening. And tonight, we witnessed something extraordinary. Miss Clara, your performance wasn't just beautiful. It was a reminder of what true artistry looks like. Unfiltered, honest. Clara flushed under the attention but held her ground, her eyes darting briefly to Ethan. You should take note. Ethan, Liam added with a pointed look. This is what talent truly looks like. Ethan's mask shattered. He stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, his icy blue eyes locked on Clara. You think you're better than me now? He snapped, his voice filled with venom. Because you had one lucky moment in the spotlight? Clara stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. It wasn't luck, Mr. Blackwood. It was hard work, perseverance, and integrity, something you seem to have forgotten along the way. The room erupted in murmurs once more, this time with quiet admiration for Clara's composure. Ethan, clearly outnumbered, clenched his jaw and turned away, signaling to his entourage to follow him out of the dining car. As he stormed out, Liam approached Clara, offering her a warm smile. Don't let him rattle you, he said. You've got something real, something people can't fake. Don't ever lose that. Clara nodded, her heart still racing. She watched as Ethan disappeared through the door, a storm of humiliation and rage swirling around him. The room slowly returned to its usual rhythm, though the passengers' conversations now centered on what they had just witnessed. Clara took a deep breath, allowing herself a moment of quiet triumph. She had stood her ground, and the truth about Ethan had been laid bare. But this wasn't the end. Clara could feel it. Ethan was not the type to let something like this go. The dining car slowly returned to its luxurious hum of conversation and clinking glasses. But the energy had changed. Ethan Blackwood's abrupt departure left a void, one filled with whispers and sidelong glances. Clara, still standing near the grand piano, felt the weight of the room's attention shift back to her. Unlike before, it no longer felt judgmental. It felt respectful, Her heart pounded as she glanced at Liam Dresden, who lingered nearby with a knowing smile. Passengers approached her, offering words of admiration and encouragement. One older gentleman, impeccably dressed, leaned in as he passed and said, "You, young lady, are a star. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Clara managed a polite smile, but her mind was still racing. She had stepped up when pushed to her limits and reclaimed her voice in the most public way imaginable. Yet even amidst the praise, doubts lingered. "What now?" "Miss Clara," Liam said, stepping closer. His tone was warm, but his gaze was piercing, as if he were sizing up her potential. "May I have a word?" She nodded, unsure of what else to say. Liam gestured to a quieter corner of the dining car, away from the prying eyes of curious passengers. As they walked, Clara caught snippets of hushed conversations. Words like Ethan, fraud, and scandal floated through the air. She pushed them from her mind, focusing instead on Liam, who now stood before her with an almost fatherly demeanor. "First," Liam began, "let me say that what you did tonight was remarkable. You didn't just sing a song, you told a story. And that, my dear, is what separates good performers from great ones." Clara flushed, unsure how to respond. "Thank you," she said softly. "I wasn't expecting any of this to happen. Sometimes the best moments are the ones we don't plan," Liam replied with a grin. "But here's the thing. Clara, you have something special. A raw, untapped talent that deserves to be seen and heard." She blinked, her pulse quickening. "I'm not sure I'm ready for something like that," she admitted. "I've been out of the spotlight for so long, and I've had bad experiences before." Liam nodded, his expression turning serious. "I know about the competition," he said gently. Clara's eyes widened. How? "I've been in this industry a long time," Liam said. "I make it my business to know talent when I see it. And what happened to you back then was a tragedy. But it wasn't the end of your story. Tonight proved that." Clara looked down, her fingers fidgeting nervously. "I don't know if I have what it takes to do this again," she whispered. "You do," Liam said firmly. "And I'd like to help you." Her head shot up, disbelief written across her face. "Help me? How?" "I'm working on a new project," Liam explained. "An album that celebrates authentic voices. Real stories. No auto-tune. No manufactured personas, just pure, raw talent. I want you to be part of it." Clara's breath caught. The offer was almost too good to be true. "You want me to record?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Liam said simply. "We'd start small, a demo track to see how you feel about it. No pressure, no strings attached. Just you, your voice, and a piano." For a moment, Clara couldn't speak. The opportunity was everything she'd dreamed of and more. Yet the scars of her past held her back. The memory of the judge's cruel laughter still echoed in her mind. What if she failed again? Sensing her hesitation, Liam placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I know this is overwhelming," he said. "But let me ask you this. When you sang tonight, how did it feel?" Clara thought back to the performance, to the way her voice had filled the room, to the applause that had followed. For the first time in years, she had felt alive, as if she were finally herself again. "It felt right," she admitted. "Then trust that feeling," Liam said. "Don't let fear dictate your future. You've already proven to everyone here, and to yourself, that you're capable of so much more than you think." Clara hesitated for only a moment longer before nodding. "Okay," she said, her voice steady. "I'll do it." Liam's face lit up with a smile. "That's the spirit. We'll discuss the details later. But for now, just know that you've taken the first step towards something incredible." As Liam walked away, leaving her with a mix of excitement and nerves, Clara felt a new sense of purpose blooming within her. She wasn't just a waitress anymore, or a girl haunted by her past failures. She was an artist, and the world was finally starting to see her for who she truly was. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Passengers continued to approach her, some offering praise, others simply nodding in silent respect. The staff treated her differently, too. Not as a colleague, but as someone who had achieved something extraordinary. But amidst the newfound attention, Clara remained grounded. She knew this was just the beginning, and the road ahead would be anything but easy. As the Aurora Express sped through the snow-covered mountains, Clara stood by the grand piano one last time, running her fingers lightly over the keys. She closed her eyes, a small smile playing on her lips. This was her moment, a turning point she hadn't seen coming but was ready to embrace. Ethan Blackwood sat in his private cabin, the soft hum of the train's movement doing little to calm the storm raging within him. The once pristine whiskey glass sat forgotten on the table, the amber liquid barely touched. For a man who thrived on control, the night had been a disaster. Clara's performance, Liam Dresden's accusations, and the whispers of scandal now followed him like shadows. He leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. In the privacy of the cabin, his mask of confidence slipped, revealing the cracks beneath. Ethan prided himself on his ability to spot talent, to mold raw potential into polished brilliance. But tonight, Clara had reminded him of something he hadn't felt in years: humility. He couldn't deny it. She had been extraordinary. Her voice had pierced through his carefully constructed walls, stirring emotions he had long buried. But it wasn't just her talent that had shaken him. It was her courage, her refusal to be defined by his challenge, and the quiet strength with which she reclaimed her power. For years, Ethan had built his empire by manipulating situations, by bending people to his will. But Clara had flipped the script, leaving him exposed, and for the first time, he found himself questioning not just his methods, but his purpose. As the train continued its journey through the snow-covered Alps, Ethan stared out the window, the moonlight reflecting off the icy peaks. He thought about the artist whose work he had stolen all those years ago, the bridges he had burned, and the trust he had betrayed. Is this what success is worth? He wondered. The question lingered, heavy and uncomfortable. Ethan had always measured his worth by his achievements, by the power he held over others. But Clara's raw, unfiltered authenticity had shown him a different kind of success, one rooted in integrity and passion. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't have an answer. The morning sun bathed the Aurora Express in a golden glow as it approached its final destination. The dining car was alive with chatter, but the atmosphere was different now, lighter, more connected. Passengers who had witnessed Clara's performance the night before exchanged stories, their voices filled with awe. Clara stood by the piano once more, her hands brushing over the keys. She had spent the night reflecting on Liam's offer, the weight of it both thrilling and terrifying. But as she looked around the room, at the smiles and nods of encouragement from strangers who now saw her as something more, the doubt began to fade. Liam approached her, his expression warm and encouraging. "Are you ready?" he asked. Clara smiled, her voice steady. "Yes, I am." The train slowed as it pulled into the station, the snowy peaks giving way to a bustling cityscape. Passengers gathered their belongings, but many lingered near Clara, offering final words of encouragement. "You've inspired us all," said an older woman, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "Thank you for reminding us of the beauty of being true to ourselves." Clara nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. As the passengers disembarked, Ethan paused at the door, his gaze lingering on Clara. For a moment, it seemed as though he wanted to say something, but the words didn't come. Instead, he gave her a slight nod, a gesture of respect, perhaps even regret, before disappearing into the crowd. Clara stepped off the train, her head held high, the crisp air filling her lungs. She was no longer the timid waitress hiding behind self-doubt. She was an artist, ready to embrace her future. Clara's story is a testament to the power of resilience, integrity, and believing in oneself. She faced her fears, reclaimed her voice, and proved that no amount of doubt, whether from others or within, can dim a true talent. But this is just the beginning. Clara's journey is far from over, and her story serves as a reminder to us all. What are you waiting for? What dreams have you put on hold because of fear or doubt? It's time to take that first step. If Clara's story has inspired you, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel for more stories of courage, resilience, and triumph. What is one dream you've been holding on to? And how can you start making it a reality today? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story.